Hi everyone. In this video I'm going to be looking into the subject of the astral realm. I'll be discussing the physics and principles that relate to how things work or how things exist on what people often refer to as the astral plane. This is a level of reality or a level of existence that many people refer to as 4D or fourth density. It's a realm that's not bound by the ordinary perceptions we have of space and time here in what we often refer to as third density. Also be aware that these different densities or levels of realities coexist, sort of nested within each other. So what's happening in the physical plane is, in a sense, a projection or reflection of patterns of energy and information and consciousness, of course, that are present on the fourth level and beyond, going all the way up to the level that you could call God or Source. So if we think about how this fourth density realm or astral realm relates to the physical plane, we could think of it as the realm of existence or consciousness where our own field of consciousness would be focused in between physical lives or incarnations. Even that's kind of hard to explain or fully articulate, since the physical plane existence and the non-physical existence coexist. So we can't really look at it from a linear time perspective and fully comprehend it. So there is an aspect of our consciousness that can be having experience on the astral plane. At the same time, per se, there's an aspect of our consciousness that's focused here, condensed in a sense, into an awareness of this reality. And all of that's occurring within an infinite field of consciousness that we could call God or the Creator. It's really difficult to wrap our limited mind around that. But suffice to say that if we understand a little bit more about how things function on the astral plane, it will give us some insight into our lives here on Earth as well, since what's happening here in our physical life is in some sense being influenced or planned to some extent from higher realms. To go over some of this background information about how things function on the astral plane, I'm going to be reading from a chapter in the book Core Light Healing by Barbara Brennan. Barbara Brennan is a clairvoyant healer who's internationally recognized and has a school where she provides the equivalent of a bachelor's level degree in the energy healing sciences. She starts out with a quote from a spirit guide that works with her, and I'll read this. The physics of fourth level reality. This is the title of this chapter. The astral world is the world beyond the physical. The astral world's boundaries are not the same as in the physical world. The physics of the astral world are also different. As you enter the astral world, you begin to perceive and to interact with non-physical worlds. This process becomes clearer as you learn new ways of being in fourth level reality. And the way things function are much different there. If we think about our life here in the physical plane, we know that when you have a thought, when you imagine something, it doesn't instantly manifest in your external perceived reality. However, on the astral plane, it's different. Things can be instantly manifesting. And you could also project your consciousness without the confines of time and space. So as soon as you think or imagine yourself somewhere, you are there just by the power of your thought or intention from that spiritual level. So I'll come back now to Barbara Brennan's book. After many years of observing and exploring fourth level reality, as well as channeling information about it from Heiwan, that's the name of her spirit guide, I have put together what I consider to be important information about how the fourth level reality of the human energy field functions. This information can be a handy guide to clarify your experiences and help you function more efficiently in the fourth level world. Unfortunately, the term astral has become associated with negative experiences. This is caused by the lack of understanding of the basic structure of the astral world and how it functions. It is the basic structure of the astral world that causes it to function very differently from the physical world. Most people who enter the astral world expect it to function like the physical world, but it does not. This is surprising and usually frightening until one learns how to be in the astral world according to how it functions. So to continue our adventure, it is best and very necessary to understand how the astral world functions. When we try to observe or enter the astral world, we automatically expect to see things in space and time coordinates, as well as the three states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. However, the fourth level reality does not function like the mundane physical world of space and time, and the three states of matter. We may even try to interpret it from what we know of the atomic or subatomic world, but none of these methods work. The basic structure is neither rigid in form nor like fluid. It does not behave as a gas, a molecule, or an atomic particle. Its behavior is not understandable from any of those perspectives. In fact, the basic structure of the astral world is not form at all. Objects and beings are not solid. They do not necessarily maintain the same appearance, such as the same size, shape, or color. Now that is different. This takes some getting used to and learning to work with the astral world. The physics of the fourth level reality or astral world. Now let's explore how the fourth level reality world functions and clarify how it is different from the physical world. The following is a list of the physics of the fourth level reality world. By applying it to your fourth level reality experiences, you will find it easier to orient yourself in the fourth level reality world and make sense of your experiences. It is important to know and thoroughly understand how the astral world works. If you end up there, you will need to know how to handle yourself. Remember, running doesn't help as there isn't solid ground to run on. What follows are 27 major aspects of the astral world to describe what it is like. Number 1, the basic structure of the astral world is made up of psychonoetic events that have either occurred in the physical world or are imagined. Number 2, a psychonoetic event includes time, location, background scenery, objects, and beings. So before I go further, I'd like to point out that she's saying that what we're experiencing in the astral world, in a sense, is a reflection of the types of things that we would experience or imagine we could experience in the physical world or physical reality. So psychologically, there's a connection between these two levels of reality. However, the way they operate and function is quite different from one another. Up to number 3 now, we all co-create on the 4th level to precipitate things into the physical world, both individually and collectively. Anything created in the physical must first go through the 4th level, that is the creative process. Imagined events are possible future events that are in the process of creation. This is number 4. Once enough humans get focused, especially emotionally, about something, the probability of physical precipitation is increased. If in the physical world we rev up a lot of emotional energy and put a lot of power behind it, we're doing the visualization process that will work to create the imagined event into the physical world. See the noise band shell in chapter 8. That's chapter 8 of her book. Many of these imagined events are unresolved and await clearing. They will either be transformed through personal or group process or gain enough mass to precipitate into the material world. So I'll put some further thoughts or input into number 4 here, into this particular section. We can see that the things that we imagine and the emotions or emotional energy that we build up around those thoughts, ideas, or intentions has an effect on what manifests in physical reality. So a lot of spiritual and metaphysical practices are based upon this principle. There's an effort to use different rituals, different forms of harnessing our intention and our emotional energy to try to quote-unquote make things happen or manifest things. This is done by people who practice what they refer to as magic, people who do what they call spells or witchcraft, things of that nature. And it's also used on a more collective societal level in things like advertising or media and propaganda, where there are efforts made to connect to the subconscious mind and emotions of the masses to get people to think and feel in certain ways, especially to get large numbers of people to think and feel in those particular ways to manifest an outcome in society. That's just sort of an aside I would like to add there, so we can observe our own life as well as the world around us and see how those energies from the spiritual realm, from the subconscious level, are being harnessed to impact what's occurring physically. This brings us now to number 5 on the list. The visualization process for imagined events is specific and purposefully used to create enough critical mass to precipitate it into the physical world. Imagined events can have either positive or negative intentionality. So that goes back to that idea of people trying to do magic. Well, people could do what there's often referred to as white magic or black magic, which just means a positive or negative intentionality. Number 6, to materialize an event, it must reach critical mass in the collective unconscious of all beings that are in the act of creating a 4th level reality world or astral subworld. So that means we're not creating everything individually. There's more of a co-creative collective aspect involved. So one person or being or entity won't necessarily be able to impose their will on everyone else or on the world around them. Number 7, The nature of space in the fourth level reality is determined by the energy, consciousness, and intent of the event that makes up the space and location where the event occurred or was imagined to occur. Number 8, according to the principle of like attracts like, that's what we often think of as the law of attraction, events coagulate around archetypes of belief systems and intent. This is what gives the fourth level reality world its structure. Each archetype could be considered to be a subworld in itself. So an archetype is sort of a fundamental psychological or spiritual theme, a very basic pattern of creation. So those archetypes are there kind of at the foundation of the belief system structures which are being applied to create these realities. Coming now to number 9, the physics of any given fourth level reality subworld is defined by the beliefs held by the energy consciousness of that world and the beings that live in that world. For example, in one astral world there might be what we call gravity, where everyone is standing in the same way and is pulled down. In another astral world, where there is no gravity at all, everyone is floating around. In every astral world or subworld, the light and colors can be different. Number 10, astral time is very different from the physical. In our mundane physical world, especially in scientific study, we have what physicists call the arrow of time. It relentlessly moves into the future, always into the future. We also have our personal experiences of the moments of time. Sometimes we experience time going by very fast, often when we are having fun, and sometimes it seems to move slowly, say when we are bored. Time even seems to stand still, especially when we experience a sudden shock, like a loud noise or an unexpected fearful event. Remember those slow motion events, as when you slam on the brakes to avoid hitting the car in front of you that suddenly stopped when you took your eyes off it for a moment. Astral time is not necessarily linear or always moving into the future. Time in any particular astral world depends on the beliefs held by the beings that have created and maintained that particular astral world. For example, time can move forward or backward or even stand still. If the beings in any particular astral world don't know anything about time or have never thought about it, they won't create it. And with all that in mind about time, we can consider that time is ultimately an illusion that we've co-created to experience here in our third density physical level of experience. So subjectively we're experiencing time, but in ultimate type of sense it doesn't exist at all. There is just an infinite range of present moments, and we're just shifting our focus, our attention or awareness from one now moment to another now moment and continuing that process without end. Let's come now to number 11. Astral time is intimately connected to space because the astral world is made up of psychonoetic events. In the physical world, the way we live our space is encapsulated in time. Time continues to move forward in the physical world. In the astral world, time is determined and encapsulated in the space. For example, my best friend and I were in Athens. We were looking over a wall of the Acropolis, and we both just automatically broke into tears because we saw the hordes of soldiers that were about to destroy the Acropolis. It is horribly painful when you go to those places because the unresolved event is there still encapsulated in the space. People who are very psychic or intuitive or sensitive, you could say, are the ones who might be inclined to tune into those energies, those emotions from those unresolved events. Now we come to number 12. Past physical events encapsulated in astral space can be cleared through personal or group process. When this occurs, the energy consciousness in that event is integrated into the great oneness, which can be experienced as a great, colorful, loving sea of light. It then ends through the creative process in core essence and the creation of more core essence. Number 13, the location you find yourself in the astral world is where you are automatically drawn by your intention, mind's focus, and emotions, all of which may be unconscious. When there is a strong level of unconsciousness or lack of strong mental and emotional clarity, you will be inexorably drawn to a space that you match. If you go out of your body and want to travel, you are going to go to the astral territory that you match. This is what happens when someone suffers a drug overdose and goes into the astral world. The state of mind at the time of the overdose is where that person will go in the astral world upon death. Number 14, movement and travel are governed by the mind's focus and intensity, or power of emotions or feelings. If you wish to travel in the fourth level reality world, you must align your intention, focus your mind, and allow your feelings about the place to flow toward it. If you want to go somewhere, pretend you are a rocket ship. Your feelings are your fuel, and your mind is your guidance system. If you don't have strong feelings about going, then it will be harder to get there. Your mind's focus determines where you are headed. This is the challenge of astral travel, to keep your mind focused on one thing. As soon as you change your mind's focus, you change directions. The more you can clear your field and regulate your feelings and your mind, the better it will be for you in the astral world, because there isn't the physical world to slow things down. Things happen instantly, so cause and effect are slower. That's something to really consider, that things can happen instantly. Your thoughts instantly shape your reality there. Coming now to number 15, your intention can shift your feelings instantly. Willing yourself to go somewhere will not necessarily work, since what most of us call willing is really a dualistic forcing current. This may take you to a belief system territory of willful, forceful beings that want to control you and force you to do what they want you to do. Number 16, boundaries are flexible in the astral world. Our boundaries are not determined in a structured way as they are in the physical world. Boundaries in the astral world aren't the same as they are in the physical world unless you believe they are. Then they would be the same. Number 17, shape and appearance are determined by immediate self-view moment to moment and can change moment to moment. When I first began my healership, I would see a lot of different astral beings in people. I would go into a person's human energy field and try to grab these astral attachments out of the field, and they would change form and slip away. It is odd to deal with these astral beings because we are used to seeing people have the same form all the time in the physical. So keep in mind, on the astral plane, any being can use its intention or imagination to shift its form or appearance in any moment. So it's hard to be completely certain of the actual identity of what you are perceiving or interacting with there. So there can be a significant amount of trickery per se, where beings on the astral plane interacting with beings on the physical plane can misrepresent themselves or present themselves to you in a form that they think you're comfortable or familiar with, even though that's not their actual identity. So keep in mind, things aren't always as they appear. Number 18, energy consciousness can be expanded infinitely or squeezed into a tiny space. This sometimes gives the mistaken appearance that more than one energy consciousness can occupy the same space at the same time. Humans have a fixed shape here in the physical world. In the astral world, a being can be really big or little because it is not made of physical substance. Since actually everyone is just a focus of consciousness and energy within the infinite, we could theoretically project our field of awareness and consciousness into infinity, so we would be an unlimited being. We come now to number 19. Perception depends on clarity and frequency of the energy consciousness of the observer. An astral being will take a certain form in order to connect with you or what it believes itself to be. So that goes back to this idea of how things are perceived. Next is number 20. Once connected, you are always connected. This has a lot of repercussions, especially if the connection is with someone you don't get along with. So our connections that we make with people here on the physical plane, they exist now sort of in a timeless sense, so we can reactivate or reawaken that connection at any time or moment, including on the non-physical realm. Now, number 21, in the astral world, light is radiated from the object or being, unlike in the physical world where the light is reflected from the sun. This self-generated light is much more informative about the true nature of the object or being itself than reflected light. This is especially relevant in the lower hell realms, as these realms are really dark because the beings there are not creating any light. Number 22, energy consciousness of the fourth level can be infused into physical objects which serve as a container. So we can think of how people like to focus energy into crystals and other physical objects. Well, we can do that using our intention and energy while we're working through a physical body, while that can also be done from beings that are operating without a physical body. Number 23, up and down can be defined spatially by rate of vibration and by degree of brightness. The higher the vibration, the brighter the light, and the higher you are. Higher in the sense of your frequency or your consciousness, your closeness to the source. Number 24, good and bad can be defined by vibration, brightness, and intentionality, not by size. And of course, good and bad are judgments using some standard of what frequency of energy or consciousness is positive or negative. Number 25, power can be defined by frequency, intensity, clarity, coherency, and focus. So those are different ways that we can, in a sense, build or magnify power by working with frequency, with intensity, with clarity, coherency, and focus. If you think about the power of people, of human beings here on Earth, you can see that a person who has a very clear focus, who has a very coherent sense of self, will tend to radiate more power. Number 26, fourth level reality power is brought about through focus of mind, which determines what the power is about, clarity of mind. Build up of emotional energy about what the mind is focused on, which then fuels the mind's objective, and precision of will. This includes the use of the three aspects of ourselves, reason, will, and emotion, as well as their balance with one another, which reflects and can also help determine one's alignment of intention. The clearer the intention, the more balanced are the reason, will, and feelings, and the clearer, stronger, and more holistic and healthy are the results. Many dreams, now we're number 27, many dreams are fourth level reality experiences, such as floating down a stairwell or flying. So there's significant overlap between the dream state and having experiences on the astral plane. So those are those 27 principles or rules per se that Barbara Brennan has identified as applying to the astral plane, to fourth level or fourth density reality. When we think about them, we can see that there are some really significant implications both for the experiences we have in that realm, whether it's an out-of-body experience, a near-death experience, or an actual experience between lives. Next, she discusses ways to get out of the lower fourth level reality. The lower fourth level or lower astral plane tends to be a realm where there are beings or personalities present that are of a low or dense vibration, where they often carry a lot of negative types of emotional energies, where they're very materialistic in a sense, sort of overly attached to the concerns they may have had on the physical plane. There may be times in dreams or explorations of the fourth level realities when you could find yourself in a lower fourth level reality world. This will most likely happen if you decide to learn how to do fourth level reality healing and thereby begin to deal with the lower fourth level reality worlds. Don't try to learn it without an experienced teacher. In such a case, it is good to understand how to get out of the lower fourth level reality worlds. Unfortunately, the first few times you experience them, it is usually pretty scary. So practicing the following ways, or the ones you like most, will be a big help to you to move into a higher level of the fourth level reality. Number 1 here is meditate to build a bridge between the third and fifth level of your human energy field, which is the same as a bridge between the third and fifth spiritual levels. So a bridge between your personality self and your higher self. Do this regularly and before you work. First, feel, see, and know the third and fifth levels, then practice moving between them. This is probably the most difficult of the items on this list to apply. Number 2, follow the light, go into the light. So just having that light to focus on can help you raise your consciousness or your energetic focus. Number 3, use a mantra the name of a spiritual leader, the name of God that is used in your religion, or whatever religious figure to whom you feel most connected. They all exist in the spiritual worlds of God. Number 4, call your guides or your guru or spiritual leader. Number 5, make a white shield around yourself on the 7th level of your human energy field. This requires getting over your fear. It's a tough thing to do the first time. It takes practice. Number 6, command in the name of, and you could use here Christ, Buddha, Allah, Yahweh, whatever God name that you identify to or with, leave. So that's when you're just using that power of your connection to what you refer to as God to shift where you are, to help carry yourself somewhere else. Number 7, use the night prayer from Hansel and Gretel. Some of you may be familiar with the Hansel and Gretel children's story. So those are some ways that she suggests that you can shift the focus that you're placed in that 4th level reality. If you get kind of stuck in a denser or darker part of that realm, you can use those meditation exercises or focus tools to help shift your vibration, to bring your focus to a higher level. For those that are interested in this topic of the astral realms, there are many books and resources that give you some reference materials and exercises. The section I was just reading was from Core Light Healing. That's this book. And other authors on the topic of out-of-body experiences include Robert Monroe, Bruce Moen, Robert Bruce, William Buhlman, and there are some others you can find. These books share a lot of experiences that other people have had while their consciousness has been projected into that realm. So if you are having experiences in the astral realm, I encourage you to use some tools and tips that can help you master your consciousness there more, so that you won't slip into any type of fear mode that could interfere with having a more desirable experience. For those that have enjoyed this video, I would invite you to view more of my YouTube videos. You can also visit my website, phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com, where you'll find more links and resources regarding holistic health and wellness and spirituality. For now, I would like to wish everyone a wonderful day. Namaste.